The definition of ominous is that something bad or unpleasant is going to happen, as in it is going to happen in the future, perhaps even in a sequel. Hello crows and non-crows alike, my name is Joe Mack, otherwise known as Support Crow, and today I'm asking you to consider what happens should Ominis go bad. When last we saw Ominis, he was a bit of a mess. His friendship with Sebastian is nothing like it was before, and Soule has gone off to beeping Narnia for all anybody knows, and he's kind of just alone to deal with his problems right now. That support structure that has provided him comfort and peace away from his family, the Gaunts, has evaporated away over the school year.
Ominis, I received your owl. What's happened with Sebastian?
He's been expelled, and will soon face trial at the Ministry. Although Anne wanted to turn him in, I think now she's torn. I confess I know how she feels. As much as we all wanted Sebastian to face the consequences of his actions, it will never be the same without him. Just standing here in the Undercroft without Sebastian feels wrong. Sebastian was my best friend. I can't imagine Hogwarts or anywhere without him.
Sebastian's questline is one of sorrow. Everyone involved loses immensely, including Ominis. So the question now becomes, what happens to Ominis now that he doesn't have anywhere to run when his family starts being evil bastards? Now you may be a staunch Ominis defender, there is no way he'd fall into the dark side, right? Especially not after dealing with his family and watching Sebastian make those mistakes and considering what happened to his aunt. I would not be so quick to jump to that conclusion. I believe, without that support structure and continued pressure from his family, Ominis could slip into using and justifying dark magic. And I think this way for a couple of reasons. The first reason is because that makes sense for his character progression. I love Ominis to bits. He's a great character. He's a great and loyal friend. He probably could have been a Hufflepuff in a different life. However, throughout all of Sebastian's quest line, Sebastian does something stupid and Ominis is immediately there, being like, "Don't you do that stupid thing. Don't you use that dark magic. Don't you dare kill your uncle now. Bad, Sebastian, bad." Ominis as a character is kinda always in the right. He's always voicing what the good thing to do is, what the reasonable thing to do is, what the sensible thing to do is. That is because Ominis is Sebastian's shadow. What do I mean by that? Across literature, you have something called character archetypes. You have the hero, the mentor, the rebel. You have a bunch of labels for a bunch of different people. There's 12 in total. The labels typically reflect not only the character's purpose, but also their relationship with the main character. And one of those archetypes is called the Shadow. The Shadow is a character that is essentially the opposite of the character they are a shadow of. In RPGs, it's hard to have a shadow for the main character because it requires assuming what choices the player is going to make and writing a character based on those assumptions. To have a true good shadow of the protagonist in an RPG, that shadow character needs to have voice lines and unique reactions to everything the player does. This is not impossible, it's just very difficult to plan out a narrative and it gets very expensive very quickly. So this is why, in RPGs at least, when there is a shadow, it is anchored to an NPC rather than the player. In Hogwarts Legacy, Ominis is Sebastian's shadow. The issue with shadows is that what makes them interesting is the character they are anchored to. Sebastian could very well be in Azkaban in the sequel. We don't know what's going to happen to him in the long run. I personally think he's just going to get expelled. Someone is going to investigate his uncle's murder, examine Sebastian's wand, put 2 and 2 together, and then expel him. So why am I telling you all this? Well, let me ask you another question. What happens to a shadow when their anchor is no longer in the story? I believe that it is extremely likely, given our choices in the first game, that Sebastian is either in prison, been expelled, or might be off in the wilderness looking for his sister. One way or another, Sebastian is going to be absent for the majority of the next game. And this absence is going to give Ominis the chance to become the character that is independent and singular. You can tell Sebastian's quest entirely without Ominis' presence. But you can't tell the story of Ominis without Sebastian. When a shadow loses its anchor, one of two things happen. They begin to undergo a process of self-discovery, they face obstacles that are personal to them, and at their lowest point are confronted with their darkest truth, at which point they either fail to become a new type of character or they succeed. What does failure look like for Ominis? I believe that failure would end up being engulfed by his family's legacy and becoming just as dark as the Gaunts want him to be. What does success look like though? It is hard to say exactly what success is in a story, but typically it involves some kind of sacrifice. Despite Ominis not liking his family and the darkness of their legacy, he's still willing to use his family name to manipulate the headmaster and the world around him. He's a bit of a hypocrite in that regard, honestly.
Actually, Sebastian brought me there, but he made it perfectly clear to keep quiet about it.
That rat! You breathe a word about this place to anyone, and not even your precious Professor Fig will be able to help you. My father is friends with the headmaster, and I'm not afraid to exploit that connection if I need to.
If Ominis wants to be his own character, then he needs to face his family, denounce them in a way that there is no going back, and take a different last name altogether. He sacrifices his wealth, influence, and home to become his own character, and from that point, well, he's got 11 other character archetypes to choose from. The character he becomes after that is one he chooses to be, which is something very few archetypes have the ability to do naturally. Granted, the writer is the one doing the choosing, but you understand what I'm saying. Originally, I theorized Ominis would be used to help redeem Sebastian, but I think before he can get to that point, we need Ominis to be his own person. So I'm thinking that if Sebastian is gonna face any kind of redemption arc, it's probably gonna be for the last game. So maybe that is a theory for the third and final Hogwarts Legacy. Let me know what you think down in the comments. Would you like to see Ominis become his own character? Do you think you could stomach a Hogwarts Legacy sequel without seeing Sebastian this time around? Let me know down below. I hope you enjoyed the video and thank you for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. Shout out to the Supreme Corvid members over in the main channel, Solitary Warcry and J Blastoise. Your support keeps me going. Until next time, as always, be safe, be well, be kind. Bye-bye.